Hã. Hum. Very great, thank God.
What's his name? Jason had her on a legal before.
Okay.
So she might be out with us.
Morning. Hello?
Morning. Hello.
Can't
Morning.
Can't see me. Oh, there you are. Hey, Lee. Oh, beautiful. Lisa Dixon.
David
Who else
Gray.
got- All right, there's a good bunch of mine. I've just left to breakfast. So we've got a big recruit that we've got just down here in Port. So I've got about 5 of the team having breakfast with this individual. So they just got the minute version of this. I won't pick on you today, Lisa. I'll pick on Brendan because Brendan and I worked through this a little bit, and we'll do role play because you know what's coming. Hello, Brendan Stead. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Well, the top 6 are at breakfast, so it looks like number 7 today, mate. So rolling
Yeah,
through
it's all right,
BS,
mate.
rolling through.
It's all right. I'm flying under the radar, mate. It's the
How
best
many
way to do
listings, Brendan Stead? How many listings?
it. 12.
12. All right. If I look at your board, are they all up there on that board?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, but let's break them up. How many of them? Hello, Angel. Hello, darling. I didn't know you were at home. All right. How many of them are live?
12.
You got 12 live. Okay, cool. How
Yeah.
many of you got signed up?
2.
Yeah.
2 signed that are still to go live. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So a lot of people would actually count that as 14. So that's a start. If it's not live, you know, especially in this market, once you start carrying a little bit of stock, let's not actually have that attributed. Okay. Now in those 12, how many have you got O and A's?
1.
1 O and A. So to me, that's
Yeah.
a separate one. Okay. So Brendan's got 14. I start breaking them up because it's different psyche for each. Yeah. And this is where I spoke to Lise. Lise is carrying 20 at the moment. So you can see how important that is once the stock carries. So we've got 2 that are in a different mentality because they're not live. We've got 1 that's O and A. So Brendan, first thing today, what would we want to be concentrating on?
Getting the O and A exchanged.
Yeah, what can we do? Now, maybe or maybe not, he can do something today to get that exchange. I don't know. But that's number 1 priority. That's the closest thing Brendan's got to make money today. Yeah? Is that O and A. All right, how many offers have we got on any of the other properties?
I've got 4 offers in play at the moment.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So then my first question, if I sat down with Brendan today, which property, which one of those could you possibly get O and A today? Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So then all I'm doing with Brendan then is that first property. What property would that be?
Probably 246 Lake Road.
246. So then I'm just going to workshop with Brendan. So whether he's ringing me, Jake, or in his own head or his own team, what can we do to get that one O and A today? All right. Next property with an offer on it.
That would probably be.
So see the
204
clarity,
Lake
see the
Road.
clarity
Yeah.
that I'm looking to build, even with Brendan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got
Like
2
if I'd
offers
worked
on
with
one
him, if
property.
I'd
Yeah.
worked with him yesterday, do you think he'd have more clarity on this stock right now?
Yeah.
Cool. So there's a if maybe. Now the answer might be none of them. The offers might be too far apart. I don't know. But what I'm looking for is clarity of your stock to know where you're at. Bop, 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 bop. And if you do this every single day, you won't get into overwhelm. 2, we're not too worried about. We're still working on. We've got 1 O and A. What are we going to do? Cool. Now those offers, are those 4 offers on 4 individual properties, or you got a couple offers on different properties?
Couple of offers on same properties.
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to work on those 2 properties next today. Yeah, and see what I've got to do to get it done. All right. So if you started this in now, how long do you reckon you've spent working on those offers and the O and A's?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, bang. Then we're moving on. We get caught in our fucking head managing our stock, but we've just gone through that. Okay, cool. All right. Now I'm going to think the next thing is I want to make sure I've got stock. So then I'm going to think, have you got any listing appointments today?
No, not today. No, I had a couple yesterday, but not today.
Cool. Okay. So you got any market appraisals to sort out?
Yes, I got three proposals to send off today.
Yeah, cool. So in my day, I'm not worrying about the two I've got coming live. I'm worrying about my O&A. I'm seeing what I can do with offers. And then I know I need new stock. What have I got to do today? Do I do need a listing or do I need to sort my market appraisals? Then I'm going to sort that out next. Make sense? How long is it going to get you or organise your team to get the market appraisals ready?
Probably an hour.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
Now, are
just go
they
through all of them.
listings or are they price updates?
Listings, potential listings. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now, if they weren't selling and I was busy, oh, hi, Rosie, thank you for allowing me to, come and have a look at your place. Look, I understand that you're not thinking about selling. I've got quite a lot of people that I'm working with really closely at the moment. Do you mind if I get that to you next Tuesday or Wednesday? Is that fine? I'm not going to say I'm going to get you that market appraisal tomorrow if you're not selling. Or could I, as long as I get that to you by the end of next week, is that fine, Rosie? Because you're just looking for a price update. Does that make sense? See how we're like managing our workload? What's the point getting something to them the next day if they're not selling? If you think there's maybe a chance, well, then you'd obviously, join at a different reason. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So then, Brendan's, so what, we're up to what, an hour to get those ready?
Yeah. Yeah. It
All right,
doesn't
so
take
an
long to do
hour
a
into
price
our day.
update.
We
So,
check,
yeah.
we're an hour into our day. All right, cool. You got any buyer appointments today?
Yeah, I've got a few. Yeah, 3 or 4 today. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. And then have you got your call sessions booked in? Do you know when you're calling?
No, I haven't booked them in yet. No.
Yeah, cool. All right, so now I'm looking at my day. Where can I fit a couple call sessions in now? Obviously, I'm carrying a bit of stock. Those buyer appointments are fine. All right. Then when I know what I'm doing with my calls, then you got 10 listings left, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so I haven't even left my desk yet. Then I'm just going to go through those 10 listings. What can I do to get an offer on any of those properties or a price reduction? And to go through those 10, if you're doing it every day, how long would it take?
Probably 10 minutes a property,
Cool.
I'd say, if you're throwing in
All
a
right, now
conversation
answer
with the
me an
vendor
honest question. How many days you look up at that board and sometimes just stare at it?
every day.
Yeah, cool. And how many times have I drilled you to do this?
Whenever you come in and look at my board.
Cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if Brendan, and Brendan's quite an organised dude, imagine if all of you did that. Lisa Dixon, what'd you get out of that?
You just need to break your day down. Look at the most important things and don't get overwhelmed by a large number of properties on the market because not all of them are saleable and you just got to go through and prioritise.
Yeah. And then as you say, yeah, thanks. Good segue. As I go through those 10 properties of Brendan's, if there's a couple of people that are 100 grand overpriced and not listening to him, I'm still going to be respectful because you never know a morning when they wake up and change. E.g., they're looking for a property, they haven't found one, they want 100 grand too much, then all of a sudden they find their property and they want to sell. So we always treat people with respect and empathy and all that sort of stuff, but we're not going to get carried away. We're going to manage the stock that is listening to us best. Yeah? We've got a certain amount of time in a day. Now, one thing I'm noticing now, as an agent, I feel for you and I have complete empathy. And I was watching Camden Haven's sales group chat on the weekend. And I got to tell you, one of the biggest things I hated about a slowing market sometimes is turning up, doing a couple of opens and no buyers. All right. However, I didn't have Instagram or Facebook back then. All right. So now you've at least got something to entertain you. All right. Remember the old days where there was nothing? All right. And you had to sit there for 45 minutes on your fucking Pat Malone. All right. However, what I am noticing is guilt around no people that you're open for inspections. All right. Adam, if you had 15 people through an open, how exciting is it to ring our vendor?
Very exciting.
Very exciting. Cool. And when none go through, do you want to call them?
Of course not.
Cool.
Well, depending on who it is, but no.
Yeah. And did you create the 15 or did you create the 0? Really?
No. I like to think I did.
Yeah. It's our information to pass it on. All right. Lisa Dixon,
Dave,
you're a very empathetic person. how hard, honestly, is it for you when you have a quiet open to ring your vendor?
Really hard.
Cool.
But I take it to heart.
It's not your problem. You didn't create it. You're not that good. You didn't create this market. No, I'm fucking serious. You guys need to get this. You didn't create the market. So don't get carried away and be a hero when the market's strong. And I was at you guys back then. Don't get carried away with thinking you're freaking God's gift. And I kept you all humble because guess what? You didn't create 2% interest. You didn't create that market. Remember?
Yeah.
You also own it. Your job is to negotiate. Your job is to market the property. Your job is to give feedback. All right? It's not yours to take to heart. Lise, did you sell anything well over reserve in the market?
Have I? In
Yeah.
this market? No. not
In
this market.
recently. In your sales career, have you sold something well over market?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Did the owner ever write you a check?
No.
Oh, what? So you what? Most thing 100 or 200 grand over reserve? Is that right?
Yeah, 250 over?
250. Yeah, and they didn't give you a check?
No.
Why didn't they give you a check?
Because I didn't ask for one. No.
No, because what? It's not your what? It's not your...
It's not my result. It's not my money. I didn't have control of that.
Oh, okay. So our vendors, when it's really fucking good, don't give us any extra money. So then why do we take it to heart? Did you expect any money out of that 250?
No.
No. So why do you take the heart when they're taking? I mean, look, I'm being cynical for you to get the point. But when they
Yeah.
take 250 grand less, do they expect you to give them a little bit of that? Sometimes they do, actually. But bad example. But is it? But why do we not expect the extra money out of the 250, but we take it to heart when they're going to take 250 less?
Yeah, I guess you just think you're doing your job.
Yeah, but that's
Like
where you got to
it's-
take it. But that's what you got to take it away. Our job is to negotiate, market the property, and give feedback. Our
Yes.
job is not to be a miracle maker and get onto realestate.com and make it up. I know I know why it's like to be in your shoes, because sometimes I used to make it up before social media and all that sort of stuff, or neighbors and things like that. Sometimes I'd say one or two people went through and no one went through because I felt so bad. I'm telling you, that's what I used to do early in my career. I hated it. When I talk to you guys like this, I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you, because everything you're feeling, I felt. And if I was at an open for inspection doing exactly your job now, but that's not my job. My job is to coach you to realize the quicker you get it off and rip the Band-Aid, whose time is it?
Yeah, it's
Rosie.
your time.
Yeah, Rosie, it's your Saturday, yeah?
Yep.
So if you do 5 opens with no buyers, you spend a whole Saturday there.
Yep.
Yeah. And where would you really want to be? Hanging out with your 2 boys or at Saturday doing opens?
Shopping.
Shopping, okay.
Next option.
So, hey, Rosie, just want to let you know, I've been at your property for 45 minutes. I was really hoping in that time to meet a buyer. I was really, really hoping during that time that I didn't open for inspection. And even though we didn't have that much inquiry in the week, I just prayed that someone might pop up. I want to let you know, I put a couple of pointer signs out. I sent another email on Friday. I mean, look, you know, it's heartbreaking to spend 45 minutes there and not see a buyer. And I'm so devastated that I'm going to pass this news on to you.
Mm.
But unfortunately, that's my job. Now, I'm going to touch base with you on Monday and give you some ideas about how we can attract some other interest. But I just want to let you know, this is quite common at the moment. We're seeing very, very limited people turn up to opens. However, we're seeing inquiry during the week. And my job is to talk to them and find out why at this stage they're not looking to come to your property. Generally, it's due to price, but I'll get back to you on Monday. All right, now you might have a different version of that. I've just done that really quickly. Now, Rosie, if you do the open from 11 to 11:45 and you pass that information on at 11:50, where does the responsibility sit? With you or the vendor?
Them.
With them. If you ring them at maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon, how much of the responsibility is landed on your lap?
Yeah,
How much of it? Maybe 50% now?
probably.
And if you don't ring them until Monday afternoon,
I wouldn't do that. But
but that's
all of it.
agents do it.
All of it.
And I don't care, looking at all your faces. I know some that don't even ring on Monday because they got bad news and don't want to deal with it.
Mm.
I can categorically bet there's one of these people in our group, because I know, that hasn't rung their vendor, that didn't have anyone through their open for inspection because they didn't want to tell them, and now their fucking vendor hates them.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
How many of you, no matter what, are ringing your vendor as soon as you get in the car? Hey, Brendan, just want to let you know, I've just jumped in the car and racing to the next open. Unfortunately, I just want to let you know that we didn't have anybody through. I've spoken to a couple of people during the week. They said they're going to pop in. I'm not sure why they haven't turned up. It could have been because of the election or the weather. I'm going to ring through on Monday morning and you're going to hear from me on Monday afternoon. If anything changes over the weekend, I'll let you know. I'm really sorry that no one came through, but I just needed to pass that news on to you, Brendan. Have you got any questions for me? Any questions, Brendan?
No, why do you think no one came through?
Mate, the
It's
market
a
at the
bit
moment.
disappointing.
I know it is. I totally get it, mate. I was there for 45 minutes and there's no worse feeling in the world sitting there waiting for someone to come through.
It's harder when you're on month 3 having that same conversation. Yeah.
So, Brendan, I just want to let you know, I mean, look, it is month 3. All right. Stay on. All right. Last week, 13 properties in Port Macquarie sold. Now, some had a red sign, some had a purple sign. So at the moment, properties are being sold and bought and sold in Port Macquarie in this current market. So, Brendan, do you want to leave it on at a price or would you like to get it sold?
Well, we want it sold, but we also don't want to give it away.
Well, at the moment, it's on for a price.
What price? Yeah, well, we have reduced the price, and that still didn't work. So I don't think it's a price.
Well, we talked about this. I mean, another 13 sold. Now, you've got a beautiful home. There's no reason. It's not selling because of its location. It's not selling because of its presentation.
We've been
Yeah, the
watching
thing
the
is,
market,
Brendan,
and there's nothing else on the market like ours. Like it's really good value from what else we can see. So
unfortunately, you're not buying it back.
wish my vendors did.
So I've seen a little bit of a market when it's changed. Now, I wasn't around for the GFC, but my director was. And what he's concerned about vendors, and maybe you're in the same spot, is that we make small adjustments and we keep making small adjustments, but the market moves faster. So as we priced it with a bit of a hope price, and then we've made a couple of small adjustments, but it looks like the market is moving more aggressively than what we have. And we seem to be just short of the market every time. And what I'm concerned is if the market still moves aggressively with these interest rate rises, we're going to keep missing the market. Now, there's no doubt in 10 years' time, of course, the property is going to be worth more, but in the next 2 to 3 years, this could be the best time we sell the property. So I think we need to have a real go and put it in the market. Now, number 8 Smith Street sold for $849, and obviously you love your property like every other vendor, and so would I if I love mine. But we're at $950, and that one just sold at $849. So if you could speak to Susie, don't speak to Liz because she'll tell me to fuck off. But if you could speak to Susie. If you could speak to Susie and get back to me, I'd really appreciate it. Because I think we need to have a hard chat.
Yeah.
Now, don't do this without role play. But do you want to take it off the market? Now, I don't want any of you to be doing this without checking in with Jake and I, because you might not be seeing it right. Do you want to rent it out? Do you want to take it off the market? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Well, it's costing you money. Now, and I'm going to sit on the fence on this. On some properties, lifestyle properties, I generally believe changing the price won't get it sold to a certain level. So if you've got a lifestyle property, which is quite unique, 100 acres or something on the water or something different, yeah. Or e.g., if I put my caravan park on the market, sometimes it's like, you know what, Mr. and Ms. Vendor, it's not the price, it's just the buyer. And I believe there's 1 in 50 properties where it's not price driven. It's just a unique property and you've just got to wait. But then guess what? That's really, then I don't consider that a listing. It just sits there. Does that make sense? So how many of your listings, Brendan, are that, or are they just not priced right?
Nah, I think they're all just not. Yeah, the ones that are struggling and not priced right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over time, earn it to a point where they put it on them. They either rent it out. Yeah. But like, what I want you to do, Brendan, is go through those vendors and think that, you know, think they were your mum. And what advice would you give every single one of them if they were your mum? Now, you know why sometimes we can't give the right advice? We don't know their why. We don't properly know them. I learned at this conference was really good. It was really good. So I draw a circle. Everyone draw a circle. All right. Put a dot in the middle of it. That's generally what you know about somebody else. You know? That's generally what you know about them. If that was a bigger circle, how much more do you think you can move your vendors? Make sense? So Lisa,
Yeah.
so now looking at that
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that we're giving advice like it was your best friend or a family member, do you reckon, and knowing that maybe that's all you know about some of your vendors, do you think getting to know your vendors and knowing that you come from a place from a heart and integrity, that you could have a bit better conversation with some of your vendors?
Yeah, massively. I think I do have those conversations with a lot of my vendors.
Yeah, cool.
Know them pretty good, but it's actually, I think too, they get caught up a little bit in what's happening around them, and yeah, I'm passing on the news. It's just whether or not it's been taken.
Yeah, cool. So in this, it's like getting people into the space to have the conversation and then earning the right to have this conversation. So even though I'm sounding aggressive and I'm saying all this, you know, what I'm looking to do generally is if I'm meeting Lisa to have this kind of conversation, you know, so like if I wanted to talk about Lisa something seriously, all right, I'd make sure that I'm around her. I'd make sure that I'm fully present. I would build a good period of that time to build rapport back up in my conversation with her first. I'd see where she's at. I'd ask her some questions so that we're in good rapport. I'm very present. And then I build the base to then have a really honest conversation. So, you know, a quick call back on a Monday night to give them a price is not earning the right to take $50,000 away from a vendor's expectations. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Cool. Nat Piper, what'd you get out of that?
Yeah, heaps, especially at the moment. So I think I need to have a bit more conversations, getting to know them a little bit more as
Yeah.
I get the listings.
Yeah. And then, you know, I can even feel it talking to Lise. Lise, like, she's thinking about a vendor. She's close to a vendors and she's taking some of their problems on her. And I'm not being cruel, but they're not your problems. Because when they win, they don't give you any of their winnings. And their problems aren't your problems either. Now, sometimes us taking on that emotion, you know, like when your friend's going through a hard time, the emotional friend that then bashes, you know, say it was one of Lisa's girlfriends fighting with a good guy, If Lise goes, he's a, all men are assholes, rah, 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 fucking rah, 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 that doesn't help a friend. If Lise actually sits in the space and says, wait a second, okay, fucking girl, what's going on with you, or what's your part in this, or what could you do better, or what are you learning? What do you really want? If Lise sits in that space and doesn't take her friend's problem on, she offers better advice. Does that make sense? Now, that doesn't mean Lise cares less than the friend that carries on like a pork chop and hates men. Same with this market. I'm not saying don't have empathy. You still have empathy for your friend when you hold that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And we've got to not own the problem ourselves. We've got to be empathetic. But what we've got to do is like that friend that helps someone through a hard time is be empathetic, but be the reasonable voice in this. And I'm not talking at you guys because I know the feeling. I suppose when I see it, I actually get like, I don't know, that's a bit of a word, but like I get emotional for you because I know what it feels like. I know how heavy it feels when you got vendors and they might be friends and they want it sold. You can't get it sold. And sometimes you just need to get them to be patient too. So I suppose what I'm saying is get to the situation, understand the situation, then move the situation. Yeah. Cool. Loads, what'd you get out of that?
Just rip the Band-Aid off early. If we don't have them conversations, the stock won't move and we won't get paid.
Ages ago, I spent a lot of time with you about price reductions and your tone of voice and your empathy and all that sort of stuff. How have you worked on that in this current market?
Well, I just shifted my mindset. I just thought,
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen if I have that conversation?
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change if I don't change. So just rip the Band-Aid off and have that conversation.
Beautiful. So the other thing, like I know it's hard, guys, and that's when I feel for you guys, and I really do. So yeah, just understand this conversation is about me trying to protect you, trying to get you to prioritize what you need to do, and then be there to help you. It's not, I get it, but because I'm third party, it's really easy for me to drill you not to do it. Who's got a question on this? Because it's a big thing. No questions? Cool.
I've got a question, Dave.
Yeah.
So in the lounge room, having that conversation. So I'm okay having those conversations face to face.
Yeah.
And then I walk away and I'm awake at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, thinking about it. So I'm having the conversations, but I'm walking away and I'm stressing.
Cool. So own that board more every morning. Is there anything more I could do on any of these? And then after that,
Yeah.
then
And I
there's
think,
nothing to,
like we talked about.
just stay with me. Own that board every morning. What can I do, marketing or price or anything else to get this sold? And then, mate, then you got to let it go.
Yeah.
Know that you've done everything in your heart and then let it go.
Yeah, I agree.
And then understand that it's not serving you or your vendors, because guess what? You need to be at your best when it meet a buyer. And if you start to feel heavy or you start to not feel that, guess what? You're not going to connect with your buyer the way you need to. And you're not going to connect with your vendor. It's not helping you.
Yeah.
Now, if you put your house on the market at the moment to sell, and then you're going to buy a unit in Port Macquarie, would you naturally be a little bit more patient getting the price that you want than you would have been 6 months ago?
Oh, I would, because I know what the market's doing.
Yeah, cool. So do your job and get your vendors in the same boat.
Yeah.
Just talk to a vendor how you would be during a sale process and what you would do if it was you. You know what? If I was you currently at the moment, I'd put the property on the market. I'd either do auction or private treaty. I'd want for a little bit of hope. I've got to price it a little bit closer to what I want than I would have 6 months ago. All right. Now I want to see it maybe I'll do it the first week and I'll speak to the team and get an idea on price. Look, it's probably not going to sell in the first 2 weeks like it's done before, but like I really want it sold in the first 4 to 5 weeks because I know that's when the best offer is. Just do everything on a property. If you do everything on a property like you do for yourself, seriously, Lex, if you were selling your house right now and it took a little bit longer, would you be lying in bed at night? Worrying?
Oh, probably not.
Well, then why the fuck are you doing it for your vendors? You ain't fucking God. So own your boards. And then there's nothing else to worry about because you've done what you need to do. And if they're at a price where it's not really going to affect it, like, you know, the other week, you know, when I drove through your area down near North Haven on the you know, road near the water, there were 4 or 5 places on the market. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I know categorically that it's going to take a little bit longer, isn't it, to sell a property around there at the moment because they've got 4 or 5 things to think out. Yeah, does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you had an investment property down, if you had an investment property, you had a unit in a building that had 2 for sale, would you be a bit more relaxed on price and timing?
Yeah, well, I'd have to be watching what's happening with those.
Cool. And if you had to sell because Craig got excited and went out and bought a place and didn't tell you, and then you needed to get your house sold because you bought something in Port Macquarie, then what would you do?
Well, I'd price it so that it was the best value.
So now I'm confused. So you're not expecting a miracle for your sale, are you?
No.
So why are you expecting it for your fucking clients? Is this a one-on-one, Lisa Dixon?
Is this a one-on-one?
It feels like a one-on-one today.
It does. We've already had that.
Hmm.
No, but I liked what you said yesterday about, you know, and we had that conversation yesterday about having that many listings and going through the board and actually the ones that are not listening and the ones that are not moving and the ones that are not prepared to move their price. And you said to me to put them at the bottom of the list and put your ones that are motivated and listening with price changes at the top of the list. And I think that's a great idea.
Exactly. But this is why you need to lean in, because I spoke to Lisa yesterday and half of it sunk in, another quarter of it sunk in today, and this probably needs another conversation before the week's out. I'm here for you guys. I understand what it's like because I've been in your shoes. The reason why I want you guys to lean in is to look after you guys through this type of thing. Because your job's to care about your vendor and my job's to care about you guys. And sometimes, like what Lisa's doing is not self-care. It's not looking after herself and not actually making her best for herself. See how I'm not even drilling it at like get things sold and I haven't even talked about make sure you get things sold. Just do your job where you can and how you can and then move on. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. You there, Grant? You've been around for a while. You've seen different markets. What do you think of this today?
Yeah, Dave, I think you hit the nail on the head with knowing your client from day one, sort of building that rapport so that when you go back out and sit in the lounge room, it's not going to be a difficult conversation. You've got some type of rapport built up with your vendor. Not always hard. I've got to do one today, hopefully. So I might need a call about 4:30 for some counselling, if that's all right.
Beautiful. but that vendor that might not be happy and that might take a price, Grant, you've been in that shoes a long time, mate, and you've seen those vendors. And I say this all the time, but it's so true. How many after this crap conversation you have at 4:30 and say a week later it gets exchanged? How are they? You know how they're going to feel in a week when they eventually get exchanged. And have you ever had them upset after? Like they get upset now, but are they ever upset after exchange?
No, I mean, no, I don't think so. I don't think I've sort of had that scenario. I mean,
they're always relieved, aren't they, mate? You know?
Yeah. I mean, this one today, it is a unique property. It's a little commercial one out in Angourie, but their expectations are just way over the mark. So I've got to sort of have that chat with them because I'm getting interest in it, but they're all just going, "You're kidding me," just doesn't stack up. So
Mate, you and you, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, you can have your property on the market at a price, but if we're going to get it sold, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And as much as I'm telling you guys to try and, you know, get it priced down and all that sort of stuff, it's their property. You got to respect them. You know what I mean? I had a property on the market with Nath Wilson. I didn't really want to sell it. If I sold it, I sold it. It was probably worth 1.2. I forget what it was at the time. If you got 1.3, I would have sold it. I didn't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like different motivation. But if I wanted it sold, I would have put it on the market at 150 probably and sold the bloody thing. So there's sellers and there's price-driven people, and you need to know with your vendor. But don't make the call of drilling them too hard around being a price vendor if you haven't had the chats that Grant's had. Cool? All right, I've probably given you all a big enough headache. Look after yourselves, lean in, guys, and understand that it's not your problem if there's no buyer interest. If you know. And if you get the price reduction on a Wednesday or a Thursday, let your vendor know that sometimes, actually, this is a really good one. So if you do get a price reduction only on the Wednesday or a Thursday, don't think that open's going to be miraculous. Hey, Mr. Vendor, look, I know we got the price on a Wednesday. That's great. That's fantastic. We mightn't see that level of interest this weekend, but certainly by the following weekend, we're going to notice it. You know, like over communicate what might or might not happen. Like Lise. Again,
Yes.
you had some quiet opens last week.
Yeah, I did.
My dog's like yapping at me. She goes like this. She talks at me. She's like, in other words, give me some freaking attention. Yeah. But did you get much inquiry on REA or Domain that week on the property?
No, not at
Okay. Cool. Oh, wow. What a surprise that no one came through.
all.
Mr. Vendor, I just want to let you know the inquiry on REA and Domain's been quite quiet this weekend. I'm going to turn up on Saturday with my fingers crossed and hope for the best, but I'm not expecting a crazy weekend. And if you really want to overservice your vendor, I just want to let you know I'm going to do another drop of 100 around your neighbours. So hopefully at least we get some of your neighbours to come along. I'll give you a call on Monday. But if we've had a quiet week on REA and Domain and we have another quiet week for open for inspection, just want to let you know I'll come over Monday or Tuesday night and have a good discussion about how we're going to reposition your property. Manage the expectation.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I just want to let you know in REA and Domain, we've had a lot of views. We've had over 400 views. Now that at the moment, that's 25% more than anyone else. But what we haven't had is any inquiry. And I'm worried that they're looking at your property and because it's amazingly presented, they love it. They've actually shared it a couple of times, but I haven't had any email inquiries and also haven't had any inspections. And the only thing that would stop at a beautiful property like yours not getting that with that amount of interest is that they're not seeing value in the price. Anyway, you guys know all that. I'm just going to finish off by saying lean in, lean in, lean in, lean in. The phone is always on. Even if I'm not around, I'm never far away. Text me, Dave, can I talk? I'm freaking any night of the week, I'm available for chats. I'm available for calls. I'm up early. So myself, Jake, James, lean in so much. And not just for you, but to do a better job for your vendors as well. Have a good day. See you, gang. Bye.